Hi everyone, Soulserver17 here, looking for us like usual. I do not own this picture, not a paid video. Alright, okay, so here's the thing. I know I've been gone for a couple of days, like 9 days after my last upload. Yeah, I realized I had like so many days left, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to, wait, I had to turn off my Wi-Fi, but anyways. I said I'm just gonna go and play some games, try to beat some, uh, you know, just try to do whatever I need to before, when I need to start up again. So, yeah, I've done a little bit of my schoolwork today, so, I mean, it wasn't, what I mean by that is not like a whole entire much, just like some saying, oh, complete this, complete this, complete this, that was it. Um, Tomorrow night, I'm gonna make a video, but it's gonna be the Sukuna Issei one. I'll have to watch the videos throughout the day, but yeah. Just today though, it's Issei Doomslayer. So hope you guys enjoy this part. I know where I last left off. It's like after Issei kills some demons, he was on the news. Well, he went viral basically, and Rias talked to Sonya. Rias is trying to figure out how to get Issei to pay for what he did. It's like I said, it's she's a brat in this one, so yeah, it doesn't really matter whatever Issei does. So let's just go on with this. As I recall, we did finish season 1 in the last video, so we are in season 2 territory. And he already met Sir Zax and talked to everything. So yeah. Anyways, let's just continue on. So, this is with Issei with the Doomslayer Part 3. Alright. So, we are just having the day start out for Issei. He's basically in his classroom, just trying to figure out what's gonna happen. Because after that whole entire, him being caught on camera, everyone's calling him the Doomslayer, which is kind of ironic. Well, they call whoever this is the Doomslayer, on the video. Which he hears some people talking like, how's he able to move in that armor? Blah blah blah. What are those creatures? Blah blah blah. Just that, just a normal gossip. As he just says, okay, as this is gonna happen to me all the time, then I'm gonna have to, well, be more discreet in my approach. Well, actually, I don't think I can, because the demons will just come out of the portal in a whole horde of humans. Else I'm going to become pretty famous. So, Zia, comes over to him and she asks, Issei, are you okay? He's like, yeah, Zia, I'm fine. I'm just thinking, that's all. She does nod, because she understands. So, after that, Ozzy will go back to her seat when the teacher comes in, and the teacher's like, now, class, let's start off the day with, well, pop quiz. As everyone, groans, and he's just chuckling. So, after the day is done, Issei is just about to, grab his bag, but then all of a sudden, he sees Tsubaki there. He sees Tsubaki at the door, and he goes, huh? Tsubaki, why are you here? She does say then, Sonya asked for me to come get you. He was like, alright. Which everyone was just kind of surprised. They never really knew Issei was part of the student council, or some people think he did something. It's like 50-50. So, he just walks up to her and he's like, what's about? Is it about what? She says no. She nods her head no, not says, or sighs. She just, says, Sonya just wanted to talk to you. That's all. And he goes like, okay. So, he goes to the student council room, with Tsubaki. On the way there, though, she does say she was pretty impressed with the video. I mean, that many demons. I'm. We did see us. Well, them before and what you showed what you can do, but to basically see when we're not around was actually kind of. He was weird, destructive, crazy, mad, angry. What? She was interesting. And he goes, okay, I expected a lot more things from, than that. Eh, alright. She was looking at him like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I mean, to be fair, why would you think it's interesting? I mean, I know they're invaders and I hate them, like, a lot. But, like, how I just, like, protect the people, you mean interesting? Or, like, how I just ignored everybody, just went in, like, headfirst into danger interesting? She just says, I'll let you think whatever you want. And he's like, he basically says to himself, what's going on with me lately? In which Drake just says, simple. You hate the normal life. He was like, yes, I do. And I'm letting my guard down, I think. Crud. So, after that, when he gets into, like, the student council room, he just sees Sonya there, no one else. He's like, is everybody gone? Issei asks Sonya. She does nod her head. She was, just please sit down. And he just, just shrugs, being like, okay. So, when he does sit down, he's like, what is it? Basically, just said bluntly, what is it? So, she doesn't ask him, do you mind, seeing how you fight straight devils? He's like, what? You want to see how I fight straight devils? She goes, uh-huh. I mean, you are, have one of my pieces, so it does have some requirements. And he just thinks about it, he's like, you are right. Okay. Wait, why are you taking care of the stray devils? Why not Grummery? In which she just silently, has a little chuckle. In which he then, like, tilts his head and he's like, huh? She goes, oh, sorry, it's just, I've been not given full, permission to have this territory for myself. But because of Rias's actions and how she went about to make you a member of her Parage and all, it came to my attention that, I began some authority to be more of the management and dealing with strays or fallen that come into this part, of my territory. In which Issei's like, your territory? But I thought she goes, it's not on paper, Issei. It's, and he was like, oh, okay, so it's really your territory, but to everyone else it's Rias. In which she does nod. Rias, though, will still be doing her, pamphlets, handouts and summonings. You won't be doing that, so don't worry. He goes like, cool, because I probably can't even do that. Still, hold up. In which then, after he says that, she looks at him and he's like, do what? He was like, oh, be transported by a magical circle. She was like, oh, okay. It's like, yeah, besides, with my new personality, I don't think anyone's gonna like me. I mean, if we can basically get somebody trying to learn sharpshooting or, trying to, basically fight and stuff, then that's probably where I'll be best at. But, who knows? Well, she does nod. But then he gets back into the topic of the stray devils. He was like, let me guess though. There's a stray devil here in, the city. Which she does nod. And, she kinda didn't. It was at the last minute. And everyone else already left, and besides, if she called them, they already technically made plans for, something. Some of them already went on their contracts and, dealings with some people. basically, as he goes, so they were already summoned. Okay. Alright. Let's go. She goes, huh? He's like, yeah, you already got the location of the stray devil, right? In which she does nod. Which Tsubaki says, as soon as we got the location of the stray. Wait, as soon as you got the location, what does that mean? Like, it was already given to you? Which Tsubaki says, yes. It's like, sounds like a setup. But alright. In which, I mean, they probably came to that conclusion, but still, a stray devil. So, when they basically, leave the school, it's through a magical circle with their bags and such. And, well, their location, though, is in a basically an old abandoned apartment complex. In which Issei is like, well, now, can't really bring out any big guns. Shotgun would be too. Probably the pistol would be best. As Drake, does say in his head, I agree with that. So he basically, grabs the energy pistol, basically puts that aside. He's like, what do you think will be? Top floor, first floor? She was like, whatever you think. He's like, got it. So he kind of just walks into the building. Tsubaki is saying, to Sonya, he's like, you think you can handle it? Which then Sonya, just looks at her, is like, was that a joke? Which she goes, yeah, I'm bad at jokes, I'm sorry. She goes, yeah, we both know you can handle this. But still, though, why were we taking care of this straight devil then, besides Rias? I mean, we've been given territories to do it and such, but Rias has been, doing this more than us. And they wanted Issei specifically to hunt this stray down. You're only here to, be his transport. Basically, Tsubaki does not too. To that, and saying this must be a trap or to get a gauge of who he is. In which Sonya does say, I agree with you. Basically, someone's on the building nearby. Basically, it's like, alright, Issei Huro. Let's see why. Why such a person like Grimmery wants to know any information about you. Well, more information on you than what they already have. Yes, it's someone from the Grimmery family trying to, gain information on Issei. And no, it's not Rias. So, basically, as Issei scours the building, he's taking his time. But, he basically is getting some, signs that the stray is here and it's, the stench of people's dead, the death is there. The stench of people, basically, that are dead is there. As he just follows it. Basically, they're all the way on the 4th floor by now, but when he basically turns a corner into a room, he just sees the stray with people, all over. As the, stray is just looking at Issei while it's just, I guess they munch on someone's soul or body. Basically just munching on something, and Issei just says, just like demons are just gross. Really. But I mean, at least you don't use people's souls as argent energy. Which they just look at him like, kind of like in an animal way. And it's like, has he become so mindless he's an animal now? Basically, that's what, Issei's thinking. Is when the stray gets up, it just starts transforming into, let's just say, a kind of like a half werewolf transformation mixed with fire. Yeah, because it had, its main magic was fire. So Izzy just looks at him and be like, "Wow, I didn't know dog fur can burn and smell this bad." It was really just end his life already. He goes, yeah, good point. So he just had the pistol ready to charge, and then he just shoots it. It basically, with the instinct, it dodges the bullet from the energy pistol and gets it near, like taken off, which it howls in pain. As then Issei just ran while it's distracted, and with his fists, already, back behind him, he basically stops and throws a punch into the stray's face, breaking its jaw, and then just immediately getting out the shotgun and, well, it says, double barrel shotgun. Legit, the barrel's on both sides, so it's just like, that one. He was like, game over. And it shoots it right in the chest. Yeah, it's not, it's just like a hole there, so, yeah. And he just, puts the gun back in the portal, into the pocket dimension along with the other one. He goes, huh, guess when you kill so many things after so long, your battle experience gets up so much it's just too easy to predict everything. In which Drake nods. So, after he basically is walking away, out the door, the person who was watching him was like, huh, he was holding back, but he was able to predict any emotion that the creature was able to make. Well, the stray, but it was more of a creature now than anything. So, his strength and speed is, amazing, along with his reflexes, or what should I say, tactical power. The king really chose me to watch somebody like this. Man, this would be quite interesting. So, and then this person disappears. And when Issei comes out of the building, he goes, well, there was no trap, but it was strange. It was like the thing was more beast than stray, or devil, actually. In which they asked, huh? Because, well, basically, it did like a werewolf transformation, but then it went on fire. In which they look at him in, like, disbelief. He's like, huh? Why are you guys so shocked by that? And they just say, you don't, that's a stray, was something, not normal one. He's like, huh? Which that was Tsubaki telling, which then Sonya just says, yeah, Tsubaki's right. That one's been on the hunt list for about 300 years. Which Issei goes like, huh, still seem not that strong, but, by the amount of magic power it had off him, I could tell that, but still, 300 years as a straight devil, no wonder why he went feral, or beast-like. I guess he just wanted some freedom or something, just to be like a beast that he knew he was, or she. It was a he, but for all that, but there was some cloth over them, so it was hard to tell. Anyway, Sonya's like, anyways, it seems like, the job is done, so let's get going. As Issei, nods and he walks over to them as they summon out the teleportation circle, in which they get in front of Issei's house, which technically no one was, seeing it, so, yeah, he's like, anyways, thanks for the, little mission. It was a good one. I got to see how strong am I against strays, but still. Thanks. She goes, it's no problem. So, when basically Issei's, walking into the house, all of a sudden he hears Azia saying, Issei, you're back! And he's like, Azia, why are you... When he was like, oh wait, I was basically at school longer than you. She's, uh-huh. And he's like, sorry, I kind of forgot. She goes, it's no problem, but we have some guests over here. He's like, huh? Guests? In which he looks and he sees Rias, Akano, Kanako, and Kiba. And he goes, oh, hey guys. Gremory. In which they say hi to Issei. Rias just looks at him, just does a little smile and doesn't say nothing. In which Issei just kind of rolls his eyes and thinks, How could I not tell that smile was always fake? Jeez, how much of an idiot was I? So, basically though, they seen, well, his, well, basically the same thing that his mom brought out, like in canon, his, well, baby pictures or such, in which Issei's like, Mom, why? Why are you embarrassing me? Anyway, she goes, what? I thought, well, how should I say this? I thought it'd be funny. And he's like, besides, it's a mother's job to embarrass their son or children. In which Issei's like, I can't fight that. Darn it. In which, well, Akako would chuckle at that. Ria still is staring at one of Issei's picture, and, well, she would be thinking, even though she's red, she would be thinking he's kind of cute as a kid. But then something caught her attention. It's technically, well, basically, Kaneko asks, has Issei, always been different from most people? In which, well, basically, how should I say this? Hold up. I'm trying to think what my thought came to. Okay, so basically, she just says, well, I mean, he does have an interest in girls at a young age, but for some weird reason, I mean, he always seemed to be, well, different than his two other friends. He goes, Motoyatsu and Motohama, I know. Seriously, those guys really could not stop giving me anything. Which, basically though, Sonia and Tsubaki just say, yeah, for what we have to deal with, well, when we were helping you clean up your room, it seemed like they really did give you a lot of stuff that you, well, said you were gladly to throw away. And when Issei just looks behind, he's like, what the? You guys are still here? And she basically, Sonya goes like, yes. I mean, we heard Rias' voice, or I should say, Akano's, Kaneko's, and everything. So we want to see. And he's like, okay. He just has this weird, like, okay, like, he's like, what are they planning? Face. He's trying to figure it out. So, they basically, Sonya goes over to where Rias is holding a book and sees the picture of Issei, and she does think that he was really cute as a kid, so, basically. Just one of those things, for some reason, older people, older people will think about a kid, or, your own, if you had a kid, and then just make fun of them, saying, you're a lot cuter as a kid, basically, and that person gets offended. I don't know why I always find that funny, but anyways, yeah. So, after that, Issei does notice Kiba looking at the book with, well, just staring at the book that he has with his friend and him, and then he sees the sword, and then he sighs and goes to Kiba. He goes, don't bother, Kiba. Remember the past won't, well, help much. In which he looks at Issei, he goes, I don't know the name, that's all. Which he does not. So he closes the book and puts it down. And, well, everyone starts chatting, and then, well, Issei just looks at the time, he's like, well, looks like I gotta make dinner for everyone. Great. And so he does. He goes into the kitchen and starts making dinner, in which everyone just in shock, besides Azia, Sonia, Tsubaki, and, well, his parents. In which Akano goes like, wait, you can cook? He's like, yeah, I can cook. Recently started, but I'm pretty good at it. Ask Azia. In which she does nod, like, real quick. In which Sonia and Tsubaki agree with her. Which Ria's like, wait, you taste his cooking? How good was it? And she goes, well, for his first time, it seemed, well, it actually tasted really good. Sonia would tell Rias. And then she thinks, like, it can't be tasting that good, can it? So, after he's basically cooked, everyone a meal, basically from, like, little to, like, just, like, little amounts of ingredients. It was just curry, so it's like curry and rice, When they ate it, they just were shocked by it. Which Konako was like, how is it so good? He's like, what? Because it's from me? Just, no. You said you haven't been cooking long, right? He goes, yeah. It's like, then how? It's like, oh, yeah, you're probably thinking when cooking someone, at first would, yeah, I gotcha. She goes, yeah. So, when Rias tastes it, she's thinking, how? I thought he was no, no. My thoughts of him, basically. She's trying to figure out how does he say like this, but can't even come up to the conclusion. Like, how did he cook this so good? And, how, I mean, she still can't comprehend that he changed. Well, I mean, she can, but she just refused to acknowledge it. So, eh. So yeah, but then she does kind of remember about when Issei talked about his friends. She kind of just wondered was she wrong about him for being, well, basically what she thought at first. So, but she knows she can't even fix it. She knows she can't, no matter how much she'll want to, but she won't even try to fix it. So, yeah. But anyways, after that's all done, Issei and, you know, basically taking all the plates, put them in, the sink. Azia comes over and helps clean the dishes with him. Then Rias just asks Sonia, why were you here? She goes, just dropping Issei off, that's all. Which then she goes, really? She goes, then why are you here? Trying to figure out how to, defeat him? Or to make him pay? In which Issei's mom is not there, which Rias doesn't say nothing, but just looks away, looking at Issei. She does have a little glare, but it's not like that, like how she would have done, glare to him before. It's a little lessened, so yeah. But anyways, Sonia notices along with Tsubaki and just sighs. And then she goes, it's too late. Even if you won't regret in the future, it'll be always too late, Rias. You can't take back what he heard. In which she doesn't say nothing, but, looking down. So, I'm not saying she's going to be redeemed. Nor am I saying is, she's going to do the same. It's just for the future, she'll just change and become a better person. So, yeah. Anyways. Okay, so, after that's all done, Issei will basically tell everyone good night. Say see them tomorrow at school. In which, well, he basically goes up to his room and just does a little bit of homework until he gets a call. He goes, huh? Oh, it's God. So he basically answers like, hey God, what's up? And God's like, Issei. I've been trying to think of something that could give you another edge in the battle to come. He's like, huh? He's like, yes, I know about your whole entire having another piece, like you said to me before, but it's dragon wings. So, I was trying to think. Maybe you can try out to see if there's a holy sword that you can wield. And if you can, then maybe you can actually use them against the demons. Just to test it out. I mean, our world and theirs are different, but still. Which Issei just, asking him, was like, what do you mean, holy sword? He goes, well, one of the pieces of Excalibur. I mean, so he basically explains about the Excalibur and the Holy Sword project. And he's like, you're very informative when you're not even around the dimension. In which he just chuckles like, I have to be. Have to watch out for my kids. That's all. In which Issei just thinks to himself, good point. Anyways, so, yeah. After that, he does ask more questions about the Holy Sword, Excalibur, and the pieces and such. And he basically knows a little bit of them. But we would have Kiba meet Freed, like in canon, and from there, nothing would change. Besides the Holy Sword, project, Issei would be thinking about it more and try to figure out, how can he help Kiba. He has nothing against the guy, nor he says, has anything against anyone else besides Rias. Even though Akina knew, she tried to say to her to tell him, so he can't really be mad at her. But anyways, after so much time, he realized at school Kiba was not around. And he's just thinking, could something have happened to him? Basically, though, Sonia and Tsubaki did meet two people from the church. Basically, though, well, when he's in class, all of a sudden Tsubaki comes in with Sonia, in which he's like, huh? Student council president, vice president, what do you need me for again? She goes, would you mind coming to the cult research club later today? He's like, really? She goes, yeah, I think it's about somebody. Well, and besides, they've asked you personally to come. Which then Issei is like, huh. So let's just have a little bit of flashback with Sonia Tsubaki. So they kind of went over the discussion that they wanted to talk to the Renmei family since, they own the territory. And they wanted to, make sure. But then this girl in a hood, basically, when she takes off, she has pigtails. Basically, tied up. Her hair's tied up into two tails of pigtails. So, and she asks, is there anybody named Issei Hudo go here? In which, well, this is like how it was. They would have met them. I mean, I'm making it kind of different where they would have met Issei at his house, but I'm making it have it. They meet him after the fight. So yeah. So basically, Sonya goes, yes. He is. Then she goes, can he come in? With us? Into the meeting, And she goes, why? He's only a human. He's not. As basically Sonya and Tsubaki, Sonya and Tsubaki are trying to, have him not be there, but basically Irina and Zenovia just say that for some reason we sent some unknown, power here that, well, Irina said she had a feeling that she knows who it is. In which then Sonya just sighs and be like, alright, fine. So, after that, after the day goes on, he does go to the student council, with the student council member, like Sonya Tsubaki, to the court research club. And for what he sees Irina Zenovia. But when Irina sees him, she's shocked. The power that, they felt is coming off of him. And it seems different. Something very strange. And so he goes, so, which one of you knows me? In which Irina says, don't you remember me? He goes, huh? Wait. No, actually. She goes, it's me. Irina? Your childhood friend? He's like, childhood friend? The only childhood friend I had was a boy who moved away. I think his name was Aaron? Not Aaron. Iron? It's been so long since I remembered that name. Which she was, Irina's kind of chuckling, which everyone's confused. Sonya's about to ask a question, but then she goes it was kind of weird because I did act like a boy. And when she goes, oh, so that is you, right? She goes, see? She pulls out, let's just say there was a wallet and cloak, basically a pocket for them to hold something. She put her wallet there as it just shows her, her and Issei. As he goes, oh, yeah, I remember you now. Yeah, you acted like a boy way too much. There's probably was a reason for it, so I'm not judging. Well, she goes, thanks. But, anyways, let's get back to business, right, Zenovia? Hold on. Okay, So, as I said, Irina says, right, Zenovia, and, Zenovia nods. In which, Grimmy, Rias Grimmy asks, why you're in my territory, basically, and all that. So, Zenovia tells her about, the, church, asking that they'll work, basically the church wants to know if they'll be working with the fallen angels and such, blah, blah, blah. Basically, she said, Grimmy says no, she won't, she'll never do that, basically. As Zenovia said, she suspected it that much. But as for the church, basically, by her standpoint, she says she doesn't even care. In which Irina goes like, you know, just watching. She's just looking at Issei, basically, as he's just like leaning against the wall, just like legit, like staring up into the ceiling, like he really doesn't even care about this. He's just thinking, huh, why do I sense Kiba? He's right outside the door. There. Good. If I learn how to sense someone's energy. I mean, thanks, Drake. In which he just says no problem. While they were talking, Issei asked Drake how to sense energy, in which Drake told him, and he was doing that the whole entire time. So, yeah. Anyways, when Sonya and Erna get up, they, Zenovia looks at Azia, in which the exact same thing will happen, but the only difference is, when Issei steps in front of Zenovia, he's just looking at her. Basically, he's taller, a little taller, so I think I made him taller. No, I didn't. But basically, though, he's just looking at, Zenovia. He was like, well, you and your, bosses really don't understand anything. Nor do they ever, like disorder in this world. That you have this perfect little system. So how about you keep your mouth shut before it gets you in trouble? In which, Zenovia looks at him, glaring, as then all of a sudden Issei legit just like cracks his fingers, while he was making a fist. In which even was like, let's not fight, you two. We don't have to fight. As then, Issei was like, nah. Well, let's see. I want to see what she's made of. I mean, she has a sword on her back, one of the pieces of Excalibur. So I want to see how strong she is with it. And with that kind of shocks Zenovia and Irina and everyone in the room. But then Kiba says, me too. I want to see how good she is with Excalibur. In which then Kiba, basically everyone sees Kiba there and he's like, I wonder when you're going to say something. Issei doesn't even look at him when he says that. So, Kiba just sighs and be like, yeah, I know. Anyways, well, Rias does say, alright, let's have a friendly sparring, right, Zenovia? Which then, hold on. Alright, so Sonya says, I want to see how Issei does with the Holy Sword. So, yeah, sorry Issei if you... He goes, no. I owe this, blue-haired, green-streaked girl a good beating, so... Or at least breaking her sword would do. In which, that kind of shocks Zenovia, but then, she quickly gains her composure as her shock came. And, she just has a little grin and like, well then, let us see how you are, devil. He goes, I mean, I ain't a devil, he's thinking. Technically I'm a demigod, but I have dragon wings, so kind of a devil, I guess. Doesn't matter to me. So when they get into the field, the whole entire, Irina versus, Issei, Zenovia versus Kiba. Irina's just saying she's sorry about, she's gonna hurt you, but basically you became a devil. And he goes, yeah, keep that whole entire stuff you're about to do. You are just way too into church. She was like, Issei, he was like, what? Said, you're different. He's like, so? So what if I'm different? I've always been different than most people. Besides, as then when he has, the boosted gear comes out, he goes, well, basically, he was like, let's see what you're made of, Irina. I have a lot of tricks that I got with this over the years. So come on, give me everything you got. As then all of a sudden there's like basically every 10 seconds, he brought it down to every 1 second. I forgot, you should know. So there's basically I don't know, 5 boosts. And he can, control how many boosts he wants. Which, basically this kind of shocks Irina and Zenovia. But, Irina, basically use her Excalibur Mimicant weapon, which forms like a katana, tries to hit Issei. I think he just, smacks the sword away. And then immediately with his, right hand, he just yells out, scatter shot! Basically, it just throws out multiple blasts that goes, in different directions, missing her, which Reese is like, did he miss her? Miss her? Wait, it's called scatter shot. What does it? As then Irina's looking around, she was like, you missed. He was like, did I? And when she looks around, there's multiple balls of little lights around her. As then he goes, she's just looking at Issei and he goes like, sorry, but. As then when he closes his fist, they all hit the ground underneath her, making an explosion with some sort of flying. And then he basically does another 5 more boosts. And then basically, immediately, how should I say this? He basically punches his fist together, and which then glows on his right fist a exact same gauntlet. In which, well, that's kind of shocking, because next thing you know, he's, Pocket Dimension has a spear coming out. The same spear that he gained, he basically kept on modifying it, tweaking it, to fit his preference of using it. As, basically the spear is, how should I say this? It's a regular spear that's been, the blade has been, changed to more, how should I, basically, it looks, have you ever seen this, I guess Sparring spear, basically? It kind of looks like one side goes on an angle, then it basically goes all the way into a point, goes down, it goes onto another angle into the spear, basically. Yeah, it kind of looks like that, but there's something strange with it. There's multiple little lines, there's a different type of connection, to it. So when basically Issei's tries to swing down, Irina blocks her sword. She does go down, hitting it. Then all of a sudden, Issei suddenly holding the spear with just one hand, basically with this, all of a sudden it just comes apart and extending with chains that then get covered with the red energy from his right, from the right gauntlet that he made out of energy. It goes into the spear, as then it just extends even more, getting the spear have more of a, energy, outline on the blade. As when he basically swings down, it suddenly starts to, it suddenly goes down to Irina. It's about to, looks like it's about to, hit her. She basically dodges it, but then she realized when she sees the ground out, it cut right through it. It was nothing. In which she's thinking, was he trying to kill me? And then basically all of a sudden he just stops, holds up his arm, in which the blade, the part of the blade that was going, then he basically swung, basically the chains wrapping around his arm, then he just catches where the blade is part of. And he's like, nice, your instincts are pretty good. And then he kind of just gets it off of it, puts the spear back together, just more making a normal spear. As then, the energy dissipates off of it, he just throws it back into the Pocket Dimension. He's like, but I'm gonna have to end this. Sorry. And then basically with just a little, how should I say this? Little movement of his foot before he touches the ground, he's just gone, and his fist is in Irina's stomach. And she's just shocked by this along with everyone else, sort of, but then she just falls down. He just sighs, and then he looks over to where Kiba is. He sees Kiba struggling. So, he basically is just thinking, I wonder if I could technically use this. And, well, from everyone's, basically focusing on Zenovia, but then they look back on Issei when they're basically about to see him go back over, pick up the sword. Sonya Sabaki tell him, no, don't, which Kiba and, well, Zenovia, look at him. Basically, he has hands near the sword, which Zenovia is thinking he's a fool. As when he basically grabs a sword, all of a sudden, it looks like it is burned out his hand. Then he grips it tighter, and something happens. It legit just stops. He goes, I guess it understands. Cool. And he just swings it down, and it legit, there's no problems. He goes, I guess I was right. Because of, what I became. It really doesn't matter what weapon I use. Holy or demonic. Nice. He also says that with a smile when he's holding Excalibur, which Kiba is just dumbfounded. Zenovia is huh? What's going on? And then he just looks over at Kiba, he's like, am I moving a little? In which Kiba just nods and just does. So, he goes, so, Zenovia, was it? She goes, yes. He goes, let's see. Let's see who's better in swordsmanship. In which, Issei does get to a stance, so does, Zenovia, in which, Issei has no style, all he knows is a stance that he thinks. So basically, when they fight, Zenovia can tell he has no sense of fighting capability of a sword, but when she blocks his attack, she can feel the weight behind that swing, in which, if she wasn't blocking, it could have killed her. So, with one, swing, he just sends her flying into a tree, as then he just runs, he basically just runs over like there's nothing that's gonna stop him. And, when she finally, opens up her eyes, she basically sees Issei about to swing, at her. So she ducks, and he does stop before hitting the tree. But still, with the force of the speed that he was going, yeah, the tree gets cut anyways. It was just butter for the force of the wind. Which Zenobia is like, what? How? He goes, do you give up? She goes, what? Give up? Seriously, you're out of class. She's like, fine, I give up, I surrender. He goes, good. So he just goes over to Erina, basically puts the sword beside her. He's like, well, that was interesting. I honestly didn't think that was gonna listen to me. Then he just says to himself, God was right, I could use these. Huh. But I gotta find one that's better for me than for Irina. So, after that, everyone's shocked by it, but after what Issei went through, they're not gonna be surprised. So, in this case, he just looks at Zenovia and he was like, well, she's gonna be knocked out for a couple of hours, so if you guys have no place to stay, you can come live with me for a bit. She was like, huh? Live with you was like, just stay over until whatever your mission's done. So basically then Rias asks, yes, what is your mission? And, they say take on Kokobil, a high-class fallen angel. As Issei just looks, and he's like, are they stupid? In which, basically, they huh? Because he just says, are they? He's like, the people you work for, your higher-ups. Are they dumb? By me just fighting you alone, I know the strength you have, and you cannot defeat Kokobil. Heck, the sword even you have nearly just broke when I just swung at it with one of the other pieces. Where she's like, why you... And then he just points over to her sword of destruction, and yeah, there's a little, there's a cut mark. And where the blade is, there's a cut mark, straight through it. Well, a little cut mark in it, not straight through it, just there, like a nick, but it's like part of the sword. That part of the sword is broken. She's like, how? He's like, I'm stronger than I look. Besides, I did like 5 boosts, and I used 3 of that boost to make those energy shots with a scatter shot, and then 5 more. Yeah, I still have some boosts in me, so yeah. I mean, I don't have to say explosion. No, it doesn't have to say explosion anymore. I can just use it. Which then Zenovia is just still looking at him and nodding. So after that, he does carry Irina back home, which Zenovia, and well, Zenovia is gonna go with just to explain the situation because Zenovia asked about Issei when he was about to, going to grab his stuff and even Irina's cloak. So Zenovia says she can explain everything. Tsubaki would have to, make sure that some arrangements are made. Which that kind of, kept her off guard, but eh. So, on the way, basically Issei looks at Sonya and just told her, just to tell her everything. And she nods, so, yeah. At the end, Zenovia just could not believe it. And he goes, yeah, since you know the truth, I think you're gonna be excommunicated, or kicked out. But since it was from me, I don't think he's gonna try anything. Michael ain't gonna try nothing. Until you find out, and then, that was not from me. But even though so it's gonna be like a cover-up for this one time. And then if we actually can get Sleeping Beauty here to actually stop pretending to be asleep, that'd be great. In which Irina is like, I know you were awake before I told Sonya to tell Zenovia. She does start blushing from that, which Zenovia asks, are you okay? Hold up. Right, as I was saying, Zenovia asks, are you okay with all this information? Which Irina goes like, well, Sonya said he's still alive, just remnants of himself, but still. It's still, which Azia says, heartbroken, right? Shocking, at the revelation, but she does not. She was, I felt exactly the same way, but I got over it with Issei in time. Well, not in time, I got over it with Issei's help and explaining some of it, in which, yeah. But then Irina's like, how could you go through all that? How could the Memory Girl just... Because anyone thought I was. And besides, to be honest, I was actually kind of feeling that exact same way about myself at a few points in my time. Before I knew about the supernatural. So, I was just angry though, because I really did like Rias. Basically, Sonya did stop and then says in realization, saying, you were in love with her. As in, he just, basically kneels down to let Irina get off his back, and then looks at Sonya and just nods. That's why it pissed me so much off. Why I hated her so much. It just sucked. That's all. So he just starts walking away, and that kind of makes Sonya upset along with Azia and Irina. Zenovia doesn't understand how she feels, but it does, hurt. Her feeling basically hurts her in some way that someone, basically he had to deal with that, especially for someone he was in love with. So after that, Issei gets home. Basically, Irina, his mom meet and talk, and saying that they, don't really have much room. And then Issei just says, "I'll sleep on the couch, Mom. It doesn't really matter to me." And which she was like, sweet. It was like, look, I have nothing to hide in my room, so yeah. Which then, Sonya does say though, she'll like help Issei find them a better place to stay at. Which Zenovia says you don't have to, and then Irina, basically about exactly the same thing. But then Sonia says no, any friends of Issei is a friend of mine. And besides, I mean, don't you want to be near, talk to Issei more, Irina? In which she doesn't say nothing, but then there's nod saying she would. So, yeah, after that, Sonia leaves. Issei talks to Irina, catching up. Azia helps his mom cook. And, yeah, from there, some stuff happens with, with Freed. I mean, they learned about they learned about Freed from because Akiba told Issei that night and everything. So, yeah, just a lot of stuff's happening different. But basically, though, how should I say this? Back at the Code Club, after Issei left with Azia, basically, Akino just looks at Rias. She goes, so, are you okay, Rias? And when Rias just says, I don't know. I really just don't know anymore, Akino. My thoughts on Issei were right to a point, and then all of a sudden this change, and now he's totally different. And about how he really was, I guess from what his mom said, was different than what my thoughts were too, so it's just, which then, well, Akino just says, I mean, you were his favorite here. And when she goes, huh? Favorite? What do you mean? Which then, Kanako does nod. Kiba did get slapped in there, said he'd be leaving and such, all that. But, which then she goes looks at Kanako, go like, you too, Kanako? What is it that you guys know that you're not telling me? In which I'm not Oz, but Akino does look at her, like, I thought it was obvious from him. Rias, didn't you know? I mean, I did think he was, well, cute and kind and caring, but I can always tell he had this look when he looks at you. Or when, I should say, when he did look at you before, well, he overheard our talk. Which then Rias is looking at Akino full of attention, and she goes, what do you mean, look? Can you please explain, Akino? And she goes, Rias, I don't think Issei will ever tell you this, but, well, I kind of maybe accidentally overheard him talk to his friends that day, the reason why we had that talk. Which then, Rias' eyes widen and goes, what did Issei say? And she does have a flashback to when she's walking, in the halls, and then basically Motsuhama is like, Issei, are you in love with anybody from the Code Research Club? Like, you, would generally want to, well, marry them someday? As then Issei just says, well, kinda? I mean, I do have a crush on them, but I don't know how they feel about me. Which, Motsuhatsu's like, come on, man, tell us. We won't make fun of you. Like, is it Akino? Azia? Maybe in Kaneko? And he goes like, or Rias, and which then Issei kind of looks away at that, scratching his, cheek. Which then Motsuhama's like, no way, you have a crush on Rias? She's out of your league, right, man? And then basically Motsuhatsu's like, technically she's out of all three of us, our league. But still, I mean, you gotta give it a try, right? When are you gonna try and ask her out? He's like, well, I'm gonna try to ask her out maybe tomorrow. I mean, I'm gonna confess how I feel. I mean, that was the plan for tomorrow. Which then they look at him and was like, huh? Like, what's so special about tomorrow that you're going to do? He's like, oh, well, tomorrow is, kind of a, how should I say this? Kind of a day I made a promise to somebody that I would, well, try to, well, do things differently in my life. Besides, you guys don't make it helpful with me trying to get a girlfriend, but you guys are still good friends. What do you mean? And basically, then, that was Motohatsu. Then Motoha was like, wait, what was this promise anyways? He was like, oh, I was gonna make a promise to say I was gonna try to get a girlfriend, at least. Basically, while I'm in high school. And try my luck. Like, seriously? Why would you make a promise to somebody like that? He's like, oh, well, it's because before middle school I kind of was down in the, basically, how I get when I'm sometimes, upset or, feeling miserable. And they're like, oh, yeah, yeah. So you made the promise saying you'll find somebody that you really care about and see where it goes and try to stop helping, stop having those moments in your life. It's like, yeah. It's like, basically, they both nod and, say, well, the only thing she can do is reject you. What's the worst that can happen? And we'll be here for you, man. In which both of them said at exactly the same time. And he goes, thanks. You guys aren't the best, the best people to, hang out with, but you guys are pretty decent. In which we're like, yeah, we get it. Just have fun. Well, have fun with the rest of your day, and, we'll be there tomorrow supporting you. In which Issei nods. So, yeah, maybe kind of tell. I mean, I kind of was making. Why would you be so hurt? That was the main thing in the first episode I was thinking when I watched it. Why did I make him so hurt? Quite frankly, I kind of wanted him to have. I just remembered when I originally made this idea, it was him having a crush on her. So, yeah. But basically, Reyes hears that saying he had a crush on me. And then, yeah, she never noticed. Which then she asked Akano, and Konako, was he obvious with it? In which Konako says, yes, but I thought he was just being a perv about it. But he never looked at you with, well, any other guy at the school would have. He generally cared, it seemed like. But I still have my suspicions. Akano just said, I thought he did care about you, but I didn't know he actually was in love with you. I only found out that day. That's why I was so adamant about you telling him. Maybe he would have understood about the reason if you told him about, basically your engagement. He wouldn't hold it against you, but he still would have, had to work on that trust. But now it seems like there's nothing between you two. Like, you two never even knew each other. Like, it doesn't even exist no more. And which Reese just kind of is in her mind, and basically because because the way how I made her in this one, she's saying that's good, but it's like ever since, Issei did came into her life, she couldn't help but feel a little bit more, like there was a little more enjoyment in it. Something was strange, but she thought it was just because she was using it. She was feeling guilty, which was kind of funny to her. But now that she knows this, it was like, if he liked her, then, she needs to know the truth, but he probably would never tell her. Besides, it is late anyways. It's too late to even ask him. So, she'll just hold off for now and ask him when, I guess, everything's done, she thinks. But, yeah, I do have to eat dinner, guys. I'm gonna get going. So, see you guys around. Bye. Have a nice day, night, wherever you are. This will come out during the night. So, bye.